Hi guys, this is a weekly recap for my setup Frisx trading indicator for the week ending the 22nd. So today is the 23rd. I'm recording on Saturday, 7:14 p.m. British Summer Time. If you've been following me, you notice that I have been sharing my trade results using this indicator, signal indicator, for the past 5 to 6 weeks, and it's showing how profitable it is. And as I've said in my previous videos, no indicator is going to be 100%. There's no such thing in trading. However, using a signal teaches me to be more disciplined. You only trade when the signal appears, and I do have a risk management feature in place, which helps you or a trader to protect their capital. In other words, if the trade goes against you, then it does not trigger after a certain amount of time. So if you set it to 1, 2, I set it to leave mine at 3. If you have 3 consecutive losses, then it would not trigger any signals until the next working trading session or day. So next trading day. Now, I've set it from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. The reason why I've set it from 6 a.m. is because I want to catch the end of the Tokyo session, usually the highs established, and then there's a bit of movement around the European session. So I want to be a coverage there, and then it goes all the way down to 9 p.m. or up to 9 p.m. time, which is when the US session, New York session closes. So yeah, that's most the liquid time for that way. I find out what works for me. Again, I've set it to a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, so you can set it to what you want, but I find out that this works for me best and is more consistent or more accurate, in other words. On GU, I only trade GU and gold, so again, that's my preference. This is no financial advice, it's for educational purposes only, so do as you please, but personally that's what works for me. Now, I've got a video that I shared a few days ago on YouTube. It's got the settings on there, so you can see all the settings and how to use it. I'll put a link in the description, so if you click below, you can see that. And if you're new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and share. That would help. So yeah, let's dive into it. I want to show you how well the indicator has done this week, and it's been consistent. There are losses, however, it's basically it's a good system because you've got this risk management in place. So if you're more risk averse, then you might want to maybe reduce this to 2. So then if you only lose this to 2 in a go, it closes. I've set it to 3. Okay, so 3 works for me. All right. Okay. So I basically, the way I trade is I divide my daily risk into 3. So the first trade signals, for argument's sake, this one here, we start from Monday, 18th. The first trigger was this one here, sell. This sell was triggered. Now when it triggers, what I would do, before I obviously start trading, I've got it set already on my charts, but I go to the alerts, and to set the alerts, you can just go and then you choose the indicator that you want, which is the 1 minute, because we're on a 1 minute chart. We've got the 15 and the 1, so on a 1 minute chart. So this is the Frisx razor indicator. This is the indicator here that we're using, and then you set a alert. You can set sell as well, but you got to do both. You set a buy. Let's do the sell first, just makes it life a bit easier. Sell, and then you can just leave it as ones or pair above. No, ones. You got ones, and then just create the alert. Then you go again, and then you create another one. You choose the right one, which is the 1 minute one, and then again buy alert once, and then you can set the date to whenever you want it to expire, say the end of the month or whatever, or do it for say 1 month, for argument's sake, and then you could just buy signal alert fired. That's the message you get, and then create it. So now, when it depends on how you set it. when the signal triggers, you will get an alert come through either your phone or an email or a sound through the computer. You can see the notification section here, and then you can create. Okay, so now let's assume that the signals we've got an alert. Signals come. We enter the trade after the signal is printed. Now this signal is not does not reprint, so it's a confirmed signal. When the signal appears, it's solid. It does not flash, disappear, and come back again. So we got a sell here, triggered at 7:13 on Monday morning. Let's assume that we are trading with two lots. We're trading with two lots for argument's sake, and again, this is for educational purposes only, not financial advice in any way. So let's assume I use two lots to trade it. In this case, we've lost 20 pips. So that would be two times 20 pips. That's about $400. But let's assume we've lost $400 today already, and we lost 20 pips. Now we've got another signal again, and that alert was triggered. That went into drawdown and then straight into profit. Now I've got a rule: when the trade goes into profit by over 50%, which is this about 10 pips, this is 20 pips that is set to take profit, and again stop loss. But if it goes past 10%, at this point, 10 give or take, right there, I move my stop loss to break even, so I protect the capital, right? So in this case, in the first scenario, it didn't even go into profit, went straight, hit stop loss, and that was a loss, total loss, no arguments there. This one here, I move my stop loss to break even. So at this point, what I do is I move my stop loss when it's gone past 50% of the trade of the product TP. I move my stop loss to protect myself from losing another $400 for argument's sake, right? As you can see in this case, the trade went, hit TP, and happy days. Okay, so that hit profit, that's 20 pips there. So we've got our loss back. So with $400 that we lost, we've got it back again. Okay, now again another sell trigger. Again, did not even go into profit. We couldn't put our capital, that took us out. So we lost that again. So that's another loss. Then we had another sell again. This went straight into profit. Again, you protect your capital, and then it went to hit TP. So we got our 400 back. So now we've sort of broken even, minus the fees and all that stuff. We're going to get into that. But then the next trigger comes again on Monday, and that's a buy. We take the buy signal, goes into drawdown, almost hit stop loss, straight back up again, and then hit TP. So that's 20 pips gain on average for the day. So now we've made 20 pips on average for Monday, so that we made a $400 for Monday. So now Tuesday comes. Again, within this, the grayed areas where the trigger, 6 o'clock is where the trigger, the signal opens, and again 9 is when it closes during trading session. So within this sort of period, within the Asian and so the Tokyo and the Aussie sessions, it won't trigger. So on Tuesday we had one trigger, and that went again into profit. As I said, we protect your capital, so that goes into profit. You move your stop loss to break even to protect your capital, and then you after 10 pips, yeah. So after 10 pips, you move your stop loss to protect your capital, and then again that hits CP. So happy days again. So on Tuesday we've made $400. Okay, so that's 20 pips. On Wednesday now we had the trade go one signal at about 3:15, goes against us, hit stop loss. So we've lost 400 there. Now Thursday, So Thursday we had one signal. That's a buy, goes hit TP, no problem at all. Protect the capital, straight into profit. So far we've made 400. And then this trade here, right? And I've actually put this there because I'm going to put a link, and I don't know if I've said it already, but I've put a link in this description of my previous video that I put on YouTube on Tuesday, where I explained how to use the very similar to this, but how I use the signal. Now, just as I finished around this time here, where the arrows around 10ish, that's when I recorded it. I was recording it live when I was trading. That candle just had appeared, that red one there, that red bearish candle. And I moved it, so you can see that picture, you'd see it on the actual timestamp. And I closed it, so we didn't know whether it was going to hit TP or not, but just so you know, it went, and I moved my stop loss to break even whilst I was live trading, and it ended there. So at that point, it stopped right there, and I had to finish the video. But just so you know, it went and hit TP. So that was a trading day, a positive trading day. So we've got 20 pips there. We've got about 20 pips here. So now it's 800 pips. We had another buy signal. Now this buy signal here, I'll call it zero because it's not a loss. I would say technically it was a loss, but if you remember what I said, when the trade goes into profit, move just by 10 pips. In this case, it went 13 pips high, right? So you move your stop loss to break even. That means when the trade goes back against you, or if it does go against you, that trade, which it did, is protected. Okay, so after 50%, which is 10 pips there, after 10 pips, you basically move your stop loss to protect it. That's how I trade. Now, again, there's no financial advice. I'm not teaching you how to trade. In this course, in this video, I'm just showing you how I trade. So again, protect the capital. So went back again, I would say hit stop loss, break even. So there's no loss apart from obviously fees, broker's fees. So there's zero, so I'll call that zero. So far we're still 800 up. And then we had another sell, which again went against us, hit stop loss. So that's minus 400 loss again. So now we're back to 400 for the day. And then I'm just taking you through the trading journey. And then we had another buy, which goes 20 pips. And then that hits TP. So we've got our 400 back. Right. So now we're on to Thursday. Thursday, we had a buy signal that went and hit TP. So again, you move protect your capital. In this case, it wouldn't hit TP. So I've got to be honest here. If I moved it, then it would not have hit TP. So tell a lie, this is confessions. This would have gone as close as how many pips? And it would have, but again, we're not robots, okay? So if, let's say it went all the way up to here, right, 17 pips, almost hitting TP. So depends how much you've made for the day. If you've made that day, you've made 800 dollars. No, not sorry, like this is the first trade. So I'll call it break even. Okay, so I'll deduct that because I've done my calculations already. So I'll change this to zero. You can tell I'm very fair here. So that's to zero. I'll change the color to white, so I know we know it's okay. So I'll change that to 0 pips. So that wasn't a loss because it went to, obviously nearly hit TP, came back, protected the capital, and went and hit TP. But so be it. If it happens, it happens. At least you did not lose anything as opposed to losing. If you hadn't moved the stop loss, then it would have hit TP. But ignore that. You would move the stop loss. If that's your strategy, you stick to it throughout. Okay, you don't chop and change. So we call it 0 for that day. That's fine. And then the next The sell signal that got triggered nearly hit stop loss all the way up there, did not hit stop loss, came back down and hit TP. So that's 20 pips. So for that day, we've got Friday, we have got 20 pips, so another 400. So in total, if we count the total amount of pips that we've made for the week, we've got 20 here, plus 2040 minus 2020, plus 2040 plus 2060, minus 2040 plus 2060, 80, 100, 80 again, 100 and 80. So it's 80 pips. So it's still not bad. I thought it was 100, but hey, it's 80 pips. So 80 pips based on our 2 lots trade times the 80 pips, that is $1,600 for the week based on a 2 lot trade. Okay, so 80 pips not bad, but basically, again, if you were using a 1 lot, it would be $800. If you're using 5 lots, it would be $4,000. If you use a 10 lot, it would be $8,000, depending on your account's balance. So again, you're looking at the pips. So I usually tend to stick to the pips. But again, it's been a successful week using the indicator. Again, as I said, indicators, the signals are not everyone's cup of tea. Never used to be mine, but if the strategy does work and it's been tested, then it helps you to be more disciplined. Because if you are someone like me that used to love scalping and overtrading, signals help you be more disciplined. Again, you have to still control yourself from getting carried away and respect your strategy. If you set this is what you're using, you only trade when the signal appears. In this case, when the alert triggers, then you come to your chart and then set your trade. So that's how I see it, and that's how I trade. I hope this helps. Again, back to this again. If you have a look at the link below, it would be the link for the video would be here. If you go to timestamp 12 minutes 34 seconds, you would see this video where I ended it. Again, I ended it right there, and you can see I'm just trying to do it for transparency, so you can see my trades are transparent, and I'm not here to show you Lamborghinis or Ferraris, or I'm just trying to teach you how I use or show you how I use my indicator signals that can be subscribed to. It's only by invite, so you can subscribe to on Tradingview and test it yourself. But yeah, I'll leave you with this and have a great weekend.